What if I told you some names in the Epstein files were never exposed? Not because they were innocent, but because something else got to them first. Some of those men didn't go to prison. They didn't face the law. They didn't even make it to trial. Because something followed them home. Some of these rich and powerful men simply disappeared from this world without any trace. And tonight's story is about one of them. Before we begin, a quick note. This story is fictional, but inspired by the unsettling true mysteries surrounding the Epstein files. Behind the headlines, behind the untold pages, there are whispers. Whispers of powerful people. Secrets buried too deep. And consequences that didn't come from courts, but from somewhere far darker. So turn off the lights and listen carefully. Because guilt doesn't always stay silent. His name was, well, I need to use a dummy name, of course, due to some obvious reasons. So we will go for Daniel. Daniel Hargrove, a billionaire investor, clean public image philanthropist, the kind of man who shook hands with presidents and donated to children's charities. But there was another version of Daniel, one that never appeared on camera, a version hidden in private jets, offshore accounts, and a list of names that should have never existed. Daniel had been nervous ever since the Epstein files started resurfacing again. Every headline felt like a countdown. Every knock on the door, a warning. But the call never came. No arrest, no investigation, nothing. For a while, he thought he had gotten away with it, until the night the ledger appeared. It started small. Daniel came home late from a business dinner. His penthouse was silent, overlooking Manhattan like a kingdom in the sky. He poured himself a drink, loosened his tie, and froze. There was something on his desk. A black leather book, old, worn, and definitely not his. He frowned. "Security!" he called out. No answer. He approached slowly, heart beginning to pound. The moment he touched it, A cold sensation shot through his fingers, like ice crawling under his skin. He pulled his hand back. Then the book opened by itself. Inside were names, dozens of them, young names, minors, ages scribbled beside them, 12, 13, 14. Daniel staggered back. No. He hadn't seen this list in years. It wasn't supposed to exist anymore. He had made sure of that. Burned records, paid people off, erased trails, but here it was. Every name written in dark ink, and then something changed. A new name appeared. Slowly, like it was being written in real time. Lily Carter. Daniel's breath caught. That name, he remembered that name too clearly. A private island, music, laughter, men in suits pretending they were untouchable, and the girl, quiet, afraid. She wasn't supposed to be there that long. It was supposed to be, handled. But something went wrong, very wrong, and the next morning, she was gone. Officially, she never existed. Unofficially, Daniel never slept the same again. No, he whispered. The room temperature dropped. The glass in his hand cracked, spilling whiskey onto the floor. And then a sound, soft, from behind him. A whisper. You remember me? Daniel turned slowly. Nothing. But the lights flickered again and again. Then the reflection in the window moved. But Daniel hadn't. He rushed to the elevator. Get me out of here, he muttered. The doors opened. He stepped inside, pressed the lobby button, the doors closed, and then the numbers didn't go down. They went up, past the penthouse, past the rooftop, into floors that didn't exist. Floor 66, floor 72, floor 89. Daniel's breathing became frantic. This isn't real. No, this isn't real. The elevator stopped. The doors opened. It was a hallway, dark, endless, with doors on both sides, each door slightly open. and from inside came whispers, crying, soft, broken, terrified voice. Children. Daniel shook his head violently. No, I'm not here. I am not here. He tried to convince himself, but his feet moved. One step, then another, towards the nearest door. He pushed it open. Inside was a room, red walls, a single chair, and a mirror. In the mirror, he saw himself, but not as he was now. Older, broken, crying, and behind him, she stood. Lily, pale, eyes hollow, but staring directly at him. You said it would stop, she whispered. Daniel fell to his knees. I didn't mean... I didn't. You watched. The room darkened. You knew. The whispers in the hallway grew louder. You signed the papers. More figures appeared behind her. Dozens, every name from the ledger, every face, forgotten by the world, but not by them. Daniel screamed, I'll fix it. I'll confess. I'll... Too late. The mirror cracked, shattered, and the hands, cold, small, gripping his arms, pulling him back into the reflection. The next morning, Daniel Hargrove was found in his penthouse, dead. No signs of forced entry, no struggle, just one thing. On his desk, a black leather ledger, closed. But on the last page, a new entry had been added. Daniel Hargrove, status collected. Some say justice comes from courts. Others say it comes from something far more patient. But what if the next story isn't about guilt? What if it's about something that follows you even when you have done nothing wrong? Let me tell you about a road where no one ever drives alone. Some roads are dangerous, not because of what's on them, but because of what follows you after. This story isn't about guilt. It's not about powerful men or hidden files. It's about obsession, about crossing a line that was never meant to be crossed. Because there are some boundaries in this world that, once broken, don't just haunt you, they claim you. People in the town of Blackridge stopped going near the old morgue years ago, not because it was abandoned, but because it wasn't. Jennifer Burrows had always been different, quiet, detached. The kind of person who avoided eye contact and spoke only when necessary. When she took the night shift job at Blackridge County Morgue, no one questioned it. It suited her. No noise, no people, just silence and the dead. At first, everything was normal. Jennifer lodged bodies, cleaned tables, filed reports. But over time, the night staff noticed something strange. She stayed longer than she needed to. Sometimes, hours after her shift ended, alone with them. Probably just dedicated, one of the nurses said. But the security guard disagreed. Dedicated people don't talk to empty rooms. Because that's what Jennifer had started doing. Talking softly, whispering, as if someone was answering back. One night, a new body arrived. Male, mid-50s, no family, no visitors, unclaimed. The kind of case that sat in cold storage for weeks. Jennifer signed the paperwork without a word. But something about this one felt different. That night, the cameras in Corridor B malfunctioned. Static distortion, then nothing. When the system rebooted hours later, Jennifer was standing in the hallway, perfectly still, facing the morgue door, smiling. From that night on, things changed. The temperature inside the morgue dropped below standard levels. Drawers opened on their own. Metal trays shifted, and sometimes footsteps echoed, even when no one else was there. Jennifer, however, looked happier than ever. Her pale face, now almost glowing, her lips moving constantly, whispering, listening, responding. Weeks passed. Then she stopped going home. The staff assumed she had quit until one morning a janitor reported a sound from inside the morgue. A sound like breathing. Police were called. The door was forced open, and what they found inside made no sense. Jennifer was sitting on the floor, cradling something, rocking back and forth, softly humming. At first, it looked like a bundle of clothes, but then it moved. The officer stepped closer. "Ma'am, what are you holding?" Jennifer looked up slowly. Her eyes were hollow, dark, but calm. "He came back," she whispered. The bundle shifted again, and a sound escaped it. A weak, uneven breath. It was a child, but something was wrong, very wrong. Its skin was pale, almost gray. Its eyes half open, unfocused, and its chest barely rising. The officer stumbled back. "That's not possible." Jennifer smiled and said, "He wanted to stay. He didn't want to be alone anymore." The lights flickered, and suddenly the morgue drawers began to rattle violently, as if something inside them was trying to get out. The child let out a low, unnatural sound, not a cry, not a breath, something in between. And then every drawer slid open at once. Bodies, dozens of them, sitting upright, eyes open. The room filled with whispers, not loud, not chaotic, but synchronized. "You promised." Jennifer froze. No, I didn't." "You promised you would stay." The temperature dropped further, frost creeping across the walls. The child in her arms stopped moving completely. Then slowly its head turned, too far, too unnatural, and its eyes locked onto hers. "You can't leave now." Jennifer screamed. The officers rushed forward, but something held them back. An invisible force, cold, heavy, and watching. Jennifer tried to crawl towards the exit, but the floor beneath her darkened like a shadow swallowing the light. Hands, dozens of them, reaching up, grabbing her. "No, please, I'll stay. Too late. The shadows pulled her down into the floor, into the darkness. And just like that, she was gone. The room fell silent. The bodies dropped, the drawers closed, the temperature returned to normal. All except one thing. On the cold metal table lay the child, still lifeless. But as the officers turned to leave, it inhaled a slow, rattling breath. And somewhere in the morgue, a whisper echoed, "She's with us now." Some places remember everything. Every secret, every touch, every promise. And sometimes they don't let go. If these stories give you chills, make sure to hit subscribe because it only gets darker from here. And tell me in the comments, would you ever take a job where the silence listens back? Or what's your views on the Epstein files?